Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So, I came across this video. I think a black woman was asking or asked a white woman, why is it that it is very hard for white women to form a sisterhood community, and it's like the black girls follow trend all over again, And she also explained why they do not have that sisterhood. Why? Because when they try to have sisterhood, the way they treat themselves, right, is also the way they try to treat people that look like me. And trust me, she made a whole lot of sense. And then there is also this question that you all already know how, like, when we talk about safe space and all that, and when they are always ready to tell you that we are your safe space or we are your ally and all that. I do not believe it because I have never ever seen them being anything ally. They will tell you that they are your safe space and turn around to do the other way around. That has always been in their destiny. And she talked about how they double down that they do not have anger and hate in them and the rest of it. But trust me. And then they call people that look like me aggressive. But when you look around, you definitely will find the people that are really more aggressive. But I am going to leave that at that. One thing I have noticed when it comes to safe space is that I do not ever trust them when it comes to safe space because they will break that rule and also make you understand that they broke it. They broke it, right? That's why when black women talk about their corporate offices and their experiences, then that also make a lot of sense. Let's get into this video.
Hello. So, I'm probably only going to do like a couple of videos and then I'm going to take the weekend because family stuff. And also, oh my God, like, this is chaos. But I didn't want to lose this comment. And it says, so for many white women, there's truly no safe space, and they double down on anger and hate. We are listening to understand. First of all, I really want to acknowledge and appreciate the generosity of spirit behind this comment. Thank you. Also, let's talk about, yes, you're correct. Let's talk about white women trauma, because this is something I think about a lot. White women trauma is very difficult to explain in the context of humans. So I'm going to explain it in the context of something else. And this isn't intended to be dismissive. This is just the best way I found, the closest thing I found to be able to explain why white women sometimes are the way they are. Let's talk about small dogs. So dog trainers will tell you that small dogs are not inherently nasty, bitey, awful little gremlins. That behavior is generally a way indicative of the way that the dog has been raised or treated. And the reason that that happens for small dogs is because people don't treat them as dogs. They treat them as toys or accessories, comfort objects, right? And so when you're a small dog, on the one hand, like, your life's amazing, right? Like, nobody's like putting you out in the yard all day and all night. You get all the food you want, you get soft beds, you get constant attention, you get carried everywhere. But also you get carried everywhere. So it turns out that when you don't treat a dog like a dog, when you don't let a dog be a dog and do things like sniff and explore and go on dog adventures and do dog things, that you get a very, very insecure dog because they're not allowed to do, they're prevented from doing the things that would let them build confidence. The other factor for small dogs, as I understand it, is that their autonomy is constantly being violated. So when you go to pet like a Doberman or a German Shepherd and they growl at you, then if you're a smart person, you don't pet the Doberman or the German Shepherd. If you go to pet a Chihuahua and it growls at you, you don't have to pay any attention to that. You should, but you don't have to, right? And a lot of people think small dog aggression is cute, right? So imagine being a creature who, like, isn't treated like an autonomous being, but is constantly, like, being told that their anger and distress signals are cute, and constantly being held and petted, and when they don't want to be. There's also no consequences for small dog anger, because people don't take it seriously. So what that does is it makes for like a very insecure, fearful, aggressive little dog. And that kind of upbringing also makes for an insecure, fearful, aggressive white woman. And that's the closest way I have to explain that. It's also worth noting that there are no safe spaces in whiteness in general. That's not really what whiteness is for. Safety is one of the things that whiteness and white supremacy hold over us to make us do what it wants. You have to do this to get safety. You have to do that to get safety. But that safety is always contingent on performance. And so, because it's another method of control. So the answer to your question is no. White people in general and white women in specific do not generally have truly safe spaces unless we've deconstructed and like managed to carve them out for ourselves. But that's very, very difficult. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, I'm back. I'm better when I answer this. Respectful question. Why is it so hard for white women to form a sisterhood community? Buckle up. So there's a short answer to this and a long answer to this and a lot of nuance, but I'm going to give you my take. And here it is. White women have a really hard time forming a sisterhood community because we don't trust each other. And we don't trust each other because we treat each other the way that we treat black women when black women are not around. And I'm going to explain that. So here's the thing about whiteness. Whiteness, like this is how I conceptualize it. Whiteness is a fractal, right? So a fractal is a shape that is the same at large scale as it is at small scale. Tree, branch, twig. That's a fractal. Whiteness works the same way. Whiteness structures itself the same way in the nation that it does in the community, that it does in the family. And that happens because whiteness, to me anyway, is a set of values, not necessarily a set of beliefs. And I'm talking about whiteness as like distinct from white supremacy. This is the value system that kind of our country is based on, kind of a lot of us were raised with. And it's not predicated on belief. You can change your beliefs and still be in the value system of whiteness. So this is just how I conceptualize it to myself. So one of the things that whiteness values a lot is hierarchy. And it's a very specific kind of toxic hierarchy where all of the good stuff goes up and all of the bad stuff goes down. So the higher you are in the hierarchy, the more benefit of the doubt you get, the more accommodations you receive, the more people are willing to like humor you, the more power you get, whether it's political, social, monetary power. Just the more protection and status you have. The lower you are in the hierarchy, the more you get shit on. The lower you are on the hierarchy, the less respect you're entitled to, the less care, the less concern. And the people lower down on the hierarchy are also the receptors of a lot of redirected negative emotions from the people higher on the hierarchy. And for example, people who are born in the white women box are heavily socialized to redirect their anger away from the people above them and down to the people below them, right? That's why you'll see a white woman who got cheated on her husband go into a store and make a cashier cry, right? Who got cheated on her husband? Blech. Or like a white woman who like got yelled at by her boss, goes home and shits all over her kids, right? Because white women are heavily socialized to redirect that anger downward. And the thing is, that hierarchy exists no matter who's there. So as soon as a black woman comes in, she's automatically at the bottom of the hierarchy and she gets all the shit. But if there are no black women or whatever, or like other people who are lower on the hierarchy, then white women will do it to each other. Every white woman I know has a story of being abandoned, abused, exploited, like by a white woman she considers as a friend. And so we don't trust each other. And because I think we think of white supremacy as a set of beliefs and not think about the values aspect of whiteness, it's really hard for us to deconstruct why we treat each other that way. And I think it's really hard for us to actually build a true sisterhood community that's not just based on like support all women except for the ones I don't like. And the thing about it is, one last thing, I don't want to ramble too much, but the one last thing about it is that hierarchy exists, that value system exists everywhere. You can see it in small Southern white women church community. And you can also see it in white woman coded, well, I mean, white men do it too, but you can also see that hierarchy in white leftist spaces, progressive blue leftist spaces. It's pervasive and it's harmful. And I think it's something that we really need to talk about deconstructing in terms of how we interact with each other. So that's my take. Let me know what you think. Fuck it, it's late. I got one more video in me. Let's go. So this was left on my video about why white women are mean to each other, in which I talk about the whiteness cultural value of hierarchy and how that works, in my opinion. And one of the illustrations I used for redirected anger was a white woman gets yelled at by her boss. She goes home and yells at her kids because she can't yell at the person higher on the ladder than her. She has to yell at the people lower on the ladder. This question says, what if the black woman is her boss? At that point, the black woman is higher than the white woman. You would think. But no. So let's talk about conformity. Conformity is another, in my opinion, fundamental value of whiteness. And by conformity, I don't mean everyone trying to be the same as everyone else. I mean, everyone is trying to conform to an ideal that sits at top of the hierarchy ladder. At the national level, the ideal is rich, landowning white men, right? They build the country, they build it for themselves. That's the cultural ideal. It is what it is. But there are lots of different ladders and lots of different ideals, and they all look very different, depending on where you're from and who you are. But there is one thing about every ladder that is the same, and that is the ideal at the top is white something. Okay? Whiteness, it will not surprise you to learn that the whiteness cultural value of hierarchy and conformity put whiteness at the top of the ladder. So in business, as in this example, let's talk about this example, the ideal is successful white business bro, right? And there's a lot of things that go into that depending on the business, but business is very based on conformity, right? So they call it professionalism and cultural fit. So the top of that hierarchy ladder is white male business bro, successful white male business bro. And the closer you can get to that, the more options you have in the country. So let's imagine for a second that we are a white woman in this system. Now, you are good at your job. You know you're good at your job because white men have been promoted over you for being a better cultural fit. So you know you're good at your job because white men have been promoted over you despite not being as good as you are. So you've also internalized very deeply this hierarchical conformity mindset. And so you're also trying to conform while being good at your job as hard as you possibly can. And we can talk about kind of like what whiteness does to white women and that specific weird little trauma thing later, but there's like you have to be aggressive but not too aggressive. You have to be confident but not too confident, attractive but not too attractive. You have to like dress nicely but not like too nicely. Like you have to be confident and subservient at the same time, which is a mind fuck. Anyway, so you're a white woman, you're in the system, you're conforming as hard as you can, you're working as hard as you can, and a position opens up and they hire from the outside or even from the inside an incredibly qualified black woman. And now you're pissed. Now, if you're racist and you're fine with that, you know why you're pissed. You're like, taking my jobs. I deserve the job because I am white, obviously. If you are the kind of white woman who is trying not to be racist, but you haven't unpacked that like foundational value system, you are not going to like be able to admit to yourself that that's why you're mad. Because in your head, you're like, well, obviously, like, she doesn't deserve the job less because she's black. That's stupid. I don't think that. But in your core, where the foundational value system is, you know that conformity system has whiteness at its heart. But it's not just that. It's also because black women are locked out of the conformity-based system of advancement, and they generally come in because they are qualified. A lot of times that means that the black woman will be more confident than the white woman feels like she's allowed to be, more settled and like sure of herself than the white woman feels like she's allowed to be. She'll a lot of times move in situations with more assurance than the white woman feels like she's allowed to have. And that I know is also a tightrope for black women, because it's, you know, everything you do is viewed out of proportion, and it's very easy to get the angry label and the aggressive label, because you don't get the benefit of the doubt in that situation that a white woman might get. But from the white woman's perspective, the black woman has come in and not only gotten the job and not fit the whiteness piece, but gotten the job and not fit the other conformity pieces that the white woman was trying to do. And that, if you're a white woman who hasn't unpacked all that shit, feels incredibly unfair. And then white women freak out because now you have somebody over you who's also beneath you in your but you should be allowed to be angry at this person, but you're not allowed to be angry at this person. And then white women's brains fritz out and they kind of lose their shit. So that's what happens in a lot of cases. And I'd love to unpack that more if you guys have any more questions, but it's kind of late. So hopefully that made sense.
This is all I got from this video, and I am going to start with this. You know, they are always very quick to say that black women must inject, and you see them when they are talking about black women being aggressive, and I am like, how are black women aggressive? But then there is something that I have noticed over time. You know, you see all those people that tell you that they are holy or they don't get aggressive and all that. Just hear them, right? And I love the fact that she actually said it the way it is, right? Because they are always doubling down they always double down on anger and hate, like it is not their thing, but deep down they know that it is their thing, you know. And then one thing I have also known so well is that you see, safe space, forget about it. It is not with them, because I have watched black women. I have also been in their space too, because where I work, right? Sometimes I am like, how did I meet this kind of human beings? I mean, tell me how we are talking like we are bodies, right? And the next minute, I am hearing like we are not even like, there is no gossip or anything, no bad blood, just like normal talk, I mean, like, people talk at work, right? And then behind, I am hearing something else. Or you are hearing that maybe she doesn't do her job well, like me, don't do my job well. Are you being serious right now? So when it comes to that safe space, it's something that I can also talk about. Why? Because I have also experienced that with them and the rest of it. So for safe space, I know when I say they are not that soft space, I know what I am saying. And I remember before the election, when they were like, I am you can always talk to us, and like when came out to assure, like assure black people that they are going to vote blue, and also when they were talking about how black people can always call on them and all that. I don't know, but I was really very, very sure about this particular one. I came at that's time last year. I kept saying this all the time. And what I said was that do not be surprised that all those people that are coming out to tell you that they are standing with you, we come back like we not even stand with you. And it was as if maybe like experiences and also the things that I have been able to learn from black women and all the black women and men. Also, I was very sure of that. And in the end, it happened the way I said it. Why? Because I also listen to black women about some certain things. So when it comes to work space and all that, they are the least safe space you can. Don't even bother. Don't even bother trusting or depending or hoping or like relying. It is not going to work. You are not finding any safe space there. Maybe if you are able, like, I am not saying it's the same to every other person's experience and the rest of it. Trust me, there might be other people saying that, oh, they trust them or their experiences are great. No, I do not have any problem with that, but I am telling you that all my experiences when it comes to safe space, they are not the safe space you are looking for. And you see jealousy and all that. Mm-mm. When it comes to working with them, it is always on another level, but it's something that I am going to leave for another day. And also, I love the fact she talked about how they do not have sisterhood. We all know that. I also learned this from black women, right? Sisterhood is far away from them. That's why they are not also able to manage themselves and manage they cannot even manage themselves because they do not have that sisterhood. No, it cannot be black people. When it comes to the familyhood, communityhood, my people are really good at that. Because if you all remember what happened at Idaho, you definitely will know what I am saying. It cannot be black people or black women. You take all of us out, you know, and the same way, and if you have not the same way, they do not have sisterhood among themselves is also the way they try to treat people that look like me. The woman also said it. I am going to draw the curtain here. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye for now.